What's going on, guys? Aiden Smith here with another episode of the Paint Your Path podcast. We got our co-host, Mr. Joel Mercado.
What's going on, guys?
How you doing, bro?
Good, brother.
And we got a special guest. Make It Happen Painting's very own owner, founder, the legend, Mr. Nick Weissman.
What's up? What's up?
How you doing, bro?
Good, man. How are you guys?
Doing
Recovering.
great. Yeah, same still. Yeah.
Yeah, still on fire.
Dude, just had an amazing weekend over in Arizona with a bunch of people we all know, which is like a big get together with PaintCon 2025. Shout out to Lucas and the whole FMM team for really holding it down. We're going to get into that. In this episode, we're going to get into Nick. He got a big win over the weekend. But yeah, before we get into anything, man, I just want to see what were your guys' thoughts? What was your guys' feedback on PaintCon? We'll start with Joel.
Yeah, man. I mean, just like it was last year, I think all the networking obviously it paid off for a lot of people, especially like doing the one-on-one calls afterwards. Everybody was just like, oh my gosh, like seeing everybody winning and seeing what they're doing and picking everybody's brains. Like I went and started executing immediately, and they're already seeing the results. It happened last year. I knew it was going to happen again this year. It was just inevitable. So it was just so good to see everybody, right? And I think the energy alone gives that push. And Lucas is so strategic, right? He does this in November on purpose to give that extra push in the winter season so that you guys are focused to win and see what it takes to keep it running. So, man, it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah.
What
Nick,
do you
what
get?
was your takeaway, my man?
No, I agree. I mean, I started doing these things probably about 3 years ago with the PCA, but now PaintCon. This was my first year at PaintCon, and I was stoked for this, man, because I was upset I missed it last year because I was getting ready for my wedding and all that. But like you said, just to touch base on like the fact that we get together as a community. I come from a sports background of football and being in a team environment all the time, so I thrive in those, and some people might not like the frat thing, and I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
We all, energy is life to me. So every time I go to one, I bring something back. That's my goal anyways, is like, there's so much more to learn and take away from things that you can't, as long as you're open-minded about it, you can take something home. If it's just one thing, it's a plus to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
huge.
and very quickly, Nick owns a painting company out here in Florida. Is Ocala kind of the main area?
I live in Ocala, but Citrus County, which is a county right below Ocala, is my main heavy targeted area.
Yeah.
But it's this is a small town, so it's nobody. If I said Citrus County, nobody's gonna be like, "Oh, I know where that is."
Right. Was this
Yeah.
your first paint? Did you go to the last one?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No.
So this was your first paint con. And it's crazy. Your first one, you won a huge award, right? You're a part of the FMMC, the $1 million club, doing $1 million with Lucas and his team, with the ads and marketing and whatnot. Maybe speak to that, man. Like, that's a legendary thing for you to achieve in this industry where a lot of guys stay small. A lot of guys don't think big. They don't take the risk that you took. And I know you have a powerful journey. So maybe take us through kind of where you started, what it looked like, and how it all came together.
Oh man, it's humbling. It's very humbling, as a lot of people could probably say. But I don't know. Sometimes I get blind to it because I'm such in a tunnel vision of just constant grind. Um, it's very rewarding, but I'm a person who's very hard on myself. So I take a little bit of the win and I keep going. But it started with nothing. I started this company from absolutely $0, zero knowledge. I just had a little bit of painting experience as an actual tech, as a painter. But what I always had was the drive, the grit, the underdog, mentality coming from the football background. I played since I was 5 years old. So, I didn't have any other option. I didn't have any other choice but to work. I'm one of the millennials in that range of like, you got it or you don't.
Got to make it happen.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. Love
That's
it.
it. Yeah. So the journey's been good so far. It's been good to me. God's been good to me. My team's been good to me. And I just am absorbing everything around me. I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing is like, I was just on another call with a coach, and he was kind of asking me, just my why and why I do what I do, and I just think that the passion to be great, the passion to finally overcome that underdog. Like, no, I'm not an underdog no more.
Yeah.
I'm doing it, and I've worked hard for that. So um, just staying true to the path, paint your path. That's what we're doing here.
Love it.
um, and this has been my path. I've had other paths, but this has been mine now. And so I just went all in. I'm a firm believer in you're either all in or you're out.
Hmm.
So, go in head first.
So Nick, when you said that you were starting obviously from painting, what was the initial like, hey man, I need to start my own business? Like when you finally just said, you know what, I have enough confidence to do this. Like what was that moment that you can just go back to that day and go, this was the moment. This was the decision I made right here. What did that look like?
Yeah. So I was actually working for an electric company, and I was traveling to work. I had to drive, I had to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to drive to this place, which was an hour and 20 minutes from my house, because that was their main office.
Hmm.
And I had recently left working for Tanner Mullen with premium painting. And I was like, hey, man, it's just, I'm not making what I want to make. Like, and I understand that you got to, you got a budget, you got whatever. But I just think it's time for me to do something else. So little me thinking like, oh, the electric industry was going to be great. I left there, and believe it or not, my foreman, like the guy who I was working with, who I had to ride with on this in the truck every day, he knew I didn't like it. I showed up, I did my job, but he could just tell like I talked about painting all the time. That's all I knew. I was like trying to in my head start a business without actually starting a business. And he told me, he's like, to be honest, man, like I feel the same way. I've been in the electric industry he was in it for the last 10 to 12 years, and he was young like me. So he's been in it since like 18, right out of high school. And long story short, he was like, I've always had thoughts too, but I just don't have the courage to like do it. And he's like, but if there's anybody that's going to do it, I believe that it's going to be you.
Ooh.
And, so I don't know. I think that was like between having the support group around me and people being like, no, yeah, you can do it. It's, just put your mind to anything and go after it. The real like switch though to like getting the LLC, starting the company was that I actually moved out of my hometown and I moved to Tampa, where my brother lived. He gave me an opportunity to live with him and kind of get on my feet. And he was like, start your painting company out here. So funny enough, I get out there. I'm still working for the electrical company, but I'm like taking jobs for painting on the weekend. And finally got a couple jobs in, did some family houses and got some money. And I was like, okay, and I could buy my license or the LLC, get insurance and kind of get this thing going. And I did my first job for like my brother's mother-in-law and made like $3,000. And I was like, that's nice.
It's pretty good.
Here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I did a great job. And so then what happens when you do a great job? You get another job.
Boom.
So I got another job. I got to the point where I was getting so much work to the point, I was like, all right, well, don't need to do the electrician thing no more. So quit from that. Told my buddy, I said, hey, man, you told me that if it was anybody, it was going to be me. Well, guess what? I did it. So I made the move. Funny enough, like literally like a month and a half later, I terminated my lease, moved back home because I ended up like driving home every weekend because now the word was spreading fast. So all my family, my friends from high school, their friends, whatever, seen everything on Facebook, and they were like, oh man, we need this painted, we need that painted. And so every weekend I'm like wasting more money and gas going back. So I was like, well, I guess it's only meant to be to go where the money's calling. And so I moved back there, and that started it. So that's kind of the transition of working as a painter, leaving thinking I would never be a painter again, but it wouldn't leave me. So it kind of chased after me, and I just finally jumped on the wagon and ran.
That's crazy, because that's actually like one of our strategies, is to make that intro post, right? Blast it out to all friends and family. And that kind of is that starter, like, all right, now I have an influx of leads. It could be friends, family, it's your inner circle, you're leveraging them. Now you have pictures, now you're getting reviews, now you're getting tossed around. And then you use that money, invest in marketing, grab a CRM. Shout out to DripJobs, our sponsor, which Nick uses also.
Yeah. Little quick snippet on that. I mean, I grew up with Tanner, so definitely shout out to him. I mean, his family, my family was his. So,
and it paid off quick. I mean, I remember PCA last year showed up 100K month, right? Like, you have the metrics to prove it. I mean, you came out swinging. You didn't go in small. You got the office, right? Once you're committed, like, you were all in. And I think that's something that I also admire about you is you post about your family. I mean, you got your kid right behind you, right? Like, you're rooted in what you stand on, what you believe in. And now that's going to also translate into greatness for your business, right? So you're investing in these things. That's what you care about. So you stand on. And now you're seeing it come to fruition,
I am. And the scary part is it's just starting.
Oh, yeah.
It's just starting. Again, I'm just so hard on myself. Like, I don't think hold on. Let me give myself a little credit. We're a third in.
Right.
We're a third in. But there's a long way to go. This is, talk about PaintCon and thinking big and having big visions and big goals. It's really a hard question because I don't think I can 100% answer it yet because I think the vision's that big. I could tell you little things, but I just told the last guy I was on a call with some little things, and he's like, I don't think you're thinking big enough. And I was like, well, that's pretty big, but like we can go further, and that's pushing yourself,
Yeah.
And I think, we got to keep doing that and never let the foot off the gas on that aspect of it. But who I am and what I do is always going to be the unfiltered Nick. That's just who I am. Is a caring, loving, kind, decent human being, and it helps me in a lot of aspects of life. So yeah, I mean, I just enjoy this stuff, man. It's like all the jobs I've had in my life, I hated. I just hated it. You never woke up like excited to try something else or do something new. And I think, this industry with my sports background, it is kind of hand in hand. It's a totally different avenue, but a lot of it, we talk a lot about like people you hire and, I just hired my first sales guy and it's like, who do you want to look for? And it's like, well, people like me, athletes, like I want the go-getters, I can't stand stagnant, sitting still. You can ask my wife, like she goes crazy because she's like, do you ever just want to sit at home? I'm like, no, I don't. I'm anti.
Well, we're wired differently.
Yeah, a little bit wired differently. My computer chip is a little bit different than yours. So yeah, I mean, yeah. I love what I do now, and I think that speaks volume. Is when you love what you do, it's not a job.
I think one of the most powerful things, especially when you get out to a conference, and we say it all the time, you got to get out there. You got to network. You got to see what's possible because, like you said, if you're not thinking big or you're not capable of thinking big, right, there's other people that will help you out with that by showing you what they've done, right? It's kind
100%.
of like, why you seek a coach. Hey, they've been there. They've done it. They can give you thoughts and tidbits and things you've never thought of. And you're like, damn, that is possible, right? Like you're just hiring a sales rep, right? Now you're going through the motions. All right, back's against the wall. I need to get this guy leads, right? I need to get this guy an estimating setup, right? And when you do that, now it's like, all right, things are coming together. I took this leap of faith. I went out and I gave my best, at bat by myself. I need to go get her. All right. I thought to myself, took that time to make it, put that energy out there and what I want. And now you're able to potentially delegate that section of your business. I mean, that's a huge leap, right?
Yeah.
And when he gets rolling, now he's carrying out the vision of your company. It becomes bigger than you. So it's like a full circle moment. And I'm not the biggest visionary, but
No, it is. Like we had a company meeting this morning, and Aiden, you just helped us with production rates like a month ago. And already, the guys, I think I even texted you. I was like, hey man, this guy told me that 6 weeks of training is too much. And he said, how about 2 to 3 weeks? I need to get out there and do this. And that was scary. I was like, kind of borderline, like, do I keep this guy? Did he just come off a little like, I'm going to tell you what to do? But then I really looked back and I said, you know what? No, that's exactly what I wanted.
You said go-getters.
Wanted to go.
Yeah.
And so literally we spent the last 2.5 weeks of I do, you do, now you do, I do, and just watching and learning. And what was it? I was actually getting ready for PaintCon, and I left my daughter behind, so we were going out to dinner with my in-laws, and we were at a restaurant. And that day, I kind of was just like, hey, I got a lot going on. I got to pack my bags. I got to go do this, drop my daughter off, da-da-da-da-da. We had 5 estimates that day. And I was like, go get it.
Yes, sir.
Go do your thing. Like, you've been watching me. This is what you asked for.
Yeah.
I kid you not, dude. I'm sitting there eating dinner. 3 out of 5 estimates. Ding.
Let's go.
What?
Sold
That's
3
huge.
of the 5. We actually sold 4 of the 5. The 4th just didn't come in that day.
Mm.
But I just lit up at dinner. I literally pulled my phone out. I don't usually do that at dinner, but I was like, babe, look at this. Like, this is insane. That was a full circle moment. That was a lot of things in business are scary. They're very risky. But being the underdog, everything's a risk.
100%.
So that was huge, man. That felt good.
That's what this is about. It's giving back to people too and letting them shine as well, right? And I think you hit the finish line of that first highest risk when you first start the business. And I say that because now you have people that are generating for you, right? And you're giving them that leap of faith, and now you're falling into a different role, which is another weird situation that you're going to be in. You're like, oh, well, what do I do next, right? I got these people that are producing for me, and how do I handle this? So that's a really cool place to be in, right? Because now you can grow the business to another level because you found the right people, right?
Yeah.
And you're talking about being an athlete. Think of your business as your sports team. And as you keep growing, Nick, I tell everyone this all the time. When you start getting to those higher levels and you guys are trying to get to 8 figures, if you're shooting for that, whatever the goal is, if you're still trying to scale, you don't just have one quarterback. You don't just have one whatever position they're in, right? You got to start looking at that in the future now and start plugging those right players and watch organically your business starts to grow. So kind of keep that mentality as an athlete. Now you're the coach of the team, right? And you got to get the right players. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great point because I'm also in the stage of like, even though we hit 1 million, even though we're doing these great things, like that's all the good stuff. But there's still things that are still happening that aren't, the glory, and that's the fact that we are still a small company and we don't have, a 52-man roster like football does, and you got third strings and second strings and fourth strings. Like somebody calls out, it's kind of a big deal.
Yes.
And I can only imagine even more so on the management level, as a PM or as a sales guy, you only got one of each. That's a big role to be
You're
missing.
back in the game, dude.
Yeah. So
what did we learn over the weekend at PaintCon? Well, I know I took away something that your people are your most valuable asset and is the most important thing you're going to do in your company, right? Is employ the right person. And I always say there's either problems or problem solvers. If you get a team full of problem solvers that are going to knock high level tasks out for you, be a clone of you, represent the company with your systems, and are go-getters like you recruited, I mean, they're going to close 4 out of 5. They're going to make your life easy. All of those thoughts and bubbled up things in your stomach where you're like, is this going to work? Will pay off because, yeah, maybe I paid a little more. Maybe I took a little more time. Maybe I, promised him some things that I wasn't sure I was going to be able to carry out and fulfill. But guess what? He is giving back 10x. And
Mm-hmm.
now that's when you have that partnership. That's when you say, okay, do this for a couple years, get comfortable in the fact that, like, hey, this is your home now, and then let's see what the future holds for us. I think, Joel puts me onto that with, like, hey, there's ownership opportunities, there's other things you can do to not promise right away, but hey, if they're going to be loyal, if they want to build with you and carry out what you're doing, I mean, they earn it at a certain point.
100%. 100%. Yeah, no, I can tell you right now one thing that's kind of relating to me on. I had a painter who was a crew lead for the house division, and we also do cabinet refinishing. And initially bringing in cabinets, I was like, oh, I'm going to start a whole nother business, like for just cabinets, come up with a whole new name, blah, blah, blah. Well, just from the expense side and the marketing expenses, it was just smarter to keep it all in one. Mm-hmm. So I have this guy who I'm like, he's very aligned to me. He's detail oriented, but he just, he's not seeming like he's really wanting and passionate about painting houses. So in the moment, I'm painting cabinets. Like, I'm still in the brush at this point. Like, I brought in a new service and I'm like, I've never taught anybody how to do this. So I started cabinet painting, and, shout out to Tanner, he's always breaking things down very simple for me on paper. And he was like, move this person here, move that person there. And I'm like, this is so silly. Like, he's drawing stick figures on paper. But it actually made sense. And then, fast forward almost 2 years now, 1.5 years or so, I told this guy when I sat him down, I said, look, I want to help you. I want to, help you in your situation at home and just to create an opportunity, right? Make more money, grow in the company, not just be stuck here at this one spot. I said, I need somebody to do cabinets. I can't do these no more. I said, I think that when you're on jobs, you thrive when you're by yourself. So I took him off and I put him on cabinets. But I gave him an end goal. I said, look, you're not just going to be a cabinet painter. We're just going to be stuck here painting cabinets for the rest of your life. I said, my vision is to have multiple branches for cabinet refinishing. So by doing that, I said, listen, you're first going to learn, get some reps in, get the cabinets under your belt. And then once we get you going on that, then we start another crew. We bring in a helper, you train him. And then we go ahead and we do more than one cabinet a week. So then we do 2. And here we are, we're doing 2 now. So recently I realized that I can take over another territory for cabinets and actually use Ford Media Marketing for some cabinets. And I was like, ding, it went off. I'm like, okay, that's the second location. Yeah. So then I get the ads rolling and we're starting to get jobs in this other location now. And then, so it hasn't quite happened yet, but I'm like, I can already see it. And I'm like, the vision is that he got this division where it needed to be in this territory. He learned. Then we got another guy in. He's learning. He's going to take over doing jobs in that area. Anthony, what I tell him all the time, you're my future operational manager of cabinets. You're going to then go to Ocala, run that division, get that one built up. Once those 2 are built up, you're now higher level. You're not even painting cabinets anymore. You're the overall operational manager of both locations. We're not but 6 months from that. So it's like, I could just tell he's so invested because I take care of my people. Tying back to what you said, it's just like, I've had too many jobs where I was not appreciated and not trained right and not respected. And it's not a good feeling at all. So that, and that ties back to my why I do what I do and why I even started a company. I just like to help people. It's not even, you can hire a bum off the street to paint. It's just, it's bigger than painting here, with what we do. So, that's big for me because I try not to over promise people. But I can see it. I can already see it happen.
Beautiful.
Love that. Nick's becoming like very if you guys are listening, obviously to our listeners, like what's the commonality to our community, right? We always want to give back. We want to be servant leaders. Like we grew our businesses for our people,
Mm.
right? And you'll notice that commonality, which is beautiful. And I know Aiden, you probably hear this often too with your clients, right? Like, hey, we really want to help out. Was the opportunity for us, so now we want to give back. And it's such a beautiful platform that you guys
Mm.
are able to do that. And we should all feel blessed to be able to give back to what we were given to us, right? So as I hear you, Nick, man, first of all, congratulations, man. Like, again, I want to give you your flowers because, I tell people all the time, it's not easy. Like,
Wow.
people see the end results, but they don't see the struggles. Listen to his story. He literally said he was driving an hour and 20 minutes to an hour and a half to be an electrician. He also said he moved to Tampa for an opportunity with his brother, going back home. So, how far is Tampa to your home?
About an hour and a half.
Another hour and a half to go back on the weekends to work on the weekends, by the way, right? If I heard you correctly, you're saying I'm staying in Tampa, I'm working on the weekends doing side jobs, and then eventually I was able to break my lease to go back. Like, guys, if you're listening to this on your drive to a job site and you're on the brush, I promise you, we've all been there. If you heard Aiden's story and how he had to start, and you're watching my story and how I started, like, we all have a common story of we were on the brush, we were on the roller, we were on the ladders. It took faith, it took finally grit of saying enough's enough. I'm getting off this stuff. I'm hiring the right people and we're going to grow this culture. We're going to grow this business and do the right thing and take care of people because what's the other commonality? We weren't taken care of. And it
Nope.
made us push us to that next layer of like, well, we're doing my own thing. Let's go. Right.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
think about that. Right. And Aiden, what's your takeaway, man? Like obviously you have your side of it. You've been in corporate doing
Right.
Certa Pro and stuff like that. Like, man, like what are your thoughts to give to our listeners and viewers on that?
I think, and this is a question I kind of want to ask Nick, is like you learn about yourself in the process, right?
Ooh,
It's like you
big.
unleash a new level where you were like, man, I thought it was there. There's days where I feel like I'm on top of the world, that I can do it, that I can accomplish these things. They're not just pipe dreams. And then it comes and you're like, holy shit, I did it. Holy shit,
Yeah.
I'm doing it. This is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
Nick, you have a sales rep now. That is
Yeah.
closing jobs. You were just a couple months or whatever, how long ago, on the tools, making this happen, just purchasing the office or the, warehouse
Yeah.
and just planning your business in the ground saying, I'm going to make this happen. I don't know exactly what the future looks like, but like I have to keep going and keeping the wheels turning, right? You're
Yeah.
just getting on with real coaching, which is super exciting. So, like you said, it's only getting started. But that's kind of what I'll ask you right now. Switch it up a little bit. What did you learn about yourself in the process of doing all
Yeesh.
this?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. Um, I don't think there's one answer for it. There's there's a lot of things you learn and have been taught by other people. I didn't just learn them on my own. Um,
You could
that's
even go back and say, what would I have told myself when I first started this journey, right? That's a good way to also frame it.
Yeah.
um, what I would have told myself.
Yeah, because I mean, look, before you didn't know any of this was going to happen. I mean, maybe you did, right? But you weren't fully committed because you couldn't see it. It was like there's so much stuff
Yeah,
happening, right?
yeah. I heard the same thing a lot from a lot of people. Was you gotta look further into the end goal and kind of see what that and then work backwards, right? Like know the end goal, work backwards. And I never got that. I was like, I don't understand what that means. Like I always was taught, you set a 2 week goal and a 1 year goal and a 3 year goal and 5 and 10, whatever, and you go forward. Like there was never no backwards thinking for me. Um, so that was tough for me. And I think a lot of stuff I've learned along the way is a lot of mental thinking, training to think about things differently. I've always had a very clear mind, and I think I've had pretty straightforward goals. But you can have a goal, but if there's no plan with it, no action put behind it, you're just treading water. Um, And I think that that's kind of where I was stuck before starting a painting company, was like job after job after job, and moving here and couch surfing and roommate with this person and that person. And it was like, where are we going? And then I was provided the opportunity to work for Tanner's company and kind of see what he built. And along the way, I'm learning all these things about myself of like, oh, I could do that, like that didn't seem too bad. And, and like I said, but previous, like I'm just the type of guy that I'm going to dive in head first, because I've always, to my friends, my family, whoever, peers, you're only going to go one or two ways. You're either going to stay right where you're at, or you're going to go forward. Like you're not really ever going to go backwards from where you're at. You're already where you're at because of what you've done. So that's why I'm like, you're either 1 foot in or 1 foot out. And you got to ask yourself that a lot. I give that advice to a lot of friends that have relationship issues. It's like, well, what are you doing? Do you really want to make it work? Do you want to be with her? Do you want to start this business? Do you want it to grow?
Yeah.
Or do you just want to be on the brush? Do you just want to run a one-man show with a helper? You got to ask yourself those questions. And we're not going to sit here and talk about the good stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of long nights of thinking, and is this worth it? And how do I do this next? Where do I start? How do I hire an employee? But this community, man, good Lord, you guys just give it. Y'all just give it, man, for free. And so to the people that are listening, yes, like it is all out there. Just go get it. That's all you have to do.
Isn't it so interesting, right? I love that you mentioned the community, man, because, relationships is a part of the journey, right? You're all struggling together. It becomes like a brotherhood, right?
Yeah.
It's like where we all were a year ago, 2 years ago, where we first met, and now where we all are. It's like we look around and we're like, damn. Like look at the quick change that can happen. But it's because we take that leap of faith. We put ourselves out there. We try and serve each other, right? Like all of us are all the people that if we needed something, we're a call away, right? Not that we talk every day, not that we're like jiving. People think it's like one big click. Honestly, we're all going about our days and weeks and months. We're just checking in here and there, making sure we're all good. And it's like, I want to be a part of something like that. And
100%.
When you're talking about like, the community and whatnot, getting into these events, I mean, like you said, we're open books. I mean, if somebody came up to me at that event, which it happened multiple times, hey, I'm struggling with this. How can I fix it? Boom, 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 boom. I gotta hop on a discovery call or hop on a blah, blah, blah. It's not how it works, right? It's like when you get into these relationships and start to build something that's bigger than just your business, man, it's just beautiful, honestly. And only good things come out of it.
100%.
And I'll touch base on one more thing and kind of answer a little bit more of that question of like who you are and what you learn along the way. And one thing that, again, I can't give enough credit to Tanner, man. He's just been a lifelong friend and mentor. He's always there for me. Anything I have to know. You got to have people like that around you. You really do. They got to tell you the truth. I think Andy Elliott spoke on that too. It's like, you're not going to, it might hurt me. Let's be honest. Like it's going to hurt my feelings, but like the next day you better believe I'm on it because you got to hear that. Nobody does that no more. The world's a little scary with that. It's a lot of fake stuff going on and people not telling the truth and just spitting it how it really is. And that's just who I am. So I appreciate that when I get it. But he always told me, and pertains to just production, like just let's talk about something real quick. If you don't have work next week, right? When your back's against the wall, you're going to figure it out. Like you really don't got no other choice. So what other direction do you go? You go figure it out. Yeah. You get hungry, you become a dog and you start doing things that you're not used to doing and getting uncomfortable. And I've had that moment more times in this journey so far than good things. And I
wouldn't have it any other way, would you?
No, because how do you grow?
Yeah,
dude. Some guys aren't willing to get to that headspace though, and that's what limits them.
It takes a lot. It does, but you only get beat down so much before you start being like, you know what, I like this. You might call me crazy, but I like it. Keep beating me up because it's only going to make me stronger.
That's one thing I've realized over the last few years of coaching people and working with people. Not everybody is set up to be a great number one business owner, right?
No.
Some guys are meant to be number twos, maybe
Mm-hmm.
even number threes, right? And I think they spoke about that a little bit at PaintCon, was like, shout out to the number twos, you know, because they have their own ways of doing things, right? They aren't the visionaries. They aren't going to handle stress in a comfortable way. They aren't willing to risk it. But will they be there and support and set up everything with you and be by your side? Like, that's an important role. So don't think of it as, oh, I'm not meant to be a business owner. No, it's like, maybe that's just not the stress you want to put yourself into, right? Or you're not built for that. And that's okay. But you have to sometimes come to terms with that.
Yeah. You got to be okay with whatever your position is. That's something I had to learn in football. Like, you know how many positions I played in football?
Yeah.
Do you think I played the position I really wanted to play? No. As a coach and as a leader, you identify what is he's good at, what is his strength, and what is his weaknesses. And that's what we need to do every day with our team and with our people. Looking into your system, looking into the group of people that you have, and realizing like, okay, we don't need to let him go. He's just in the wrong spot. Why did I put him there?
Yes.
He's not good at it, and that's okay, and be okay with that. Like, and I was always okay with that. Like, I played a lot on the offensive line, but I loved playing defensive line. I was an underdog. I was 50 pounds less than all the other linemen that I played with, but I had the knowledge. I had the smarts of knowing where to be at all times. And I knew that if I wasn't on that line, I wasn't able to help the other people who didn't have the smarts. You know, they were the physical machine that moved the body, but they didn't know where to go. Where to go and where to be. And that's the same thing in business. You got to put people in the right positions, like just playing with puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
Oh, don't go there, move them. And so that's a lot of what I'm still learning to this day. I'm not perfect at it, but as I continue to just keep refining that skill, it's getting better and better.
Here's another question for you, Nick. What are like the top 2 to 3, like major game changers that has allowed you to have the success that you're having now? Could be anything.
I don't know if they're in order, but I can definitely give a few. Honestly, I'm gonna go back to the community again. Just like having the right people around you. And being a little vulnerable here too. You know, before all this, like bad relationship, partying and drinking all the time, thinking it was cool, thinking it was fun, I'm having a blast. Nah, I wasn't. I'm just like everybody else's story with that. Like, I was lost. I didn't know what to do. And honestly, funny enough, is, with all these TikTok videos and all this stuff going around, like I followed a lot of influencers and coaches and things like that. And I kept hearing the same common goal, or like task of like, take 6 months to just tune it all out, block it out, dive in, go full force on yourself, not anybody else, and see what happens. And I did that. And I think that when you focus on yourself, you'll see a lot of results. So that's one thing I did that really changed the game for me and started the path, and put me in the direction that I need to be on. So having the right support system, having the right people around you, you're always going to have haters. If you don't have haters, you're not doing something right. So that's the one thing. I don't know. I reached another level of just believing in myself as well. There's a lot of fear-minded thoughts that I have, and I'm still working on. Because I was always the underdog, because I was always that guy that failed a lot and had to try something else. So just believing and having the faith that like I can do it, and if I can't, like at least I tried. I didn't want to have regrets. To tie into that, it's the big vulnerable thing for me is I lost my mom in 2015. I think that's why I was telling you, Joel, like I really liked your speech at PinCon and
Epic.
just watching your mom over there, man, that was very emotional for me. Because she, other than having the great community around me, she was my support system. Like she was the angel in the room. She was the light of everything. And so that burning passion came from her. It's like I felt like I had something to prove, even though she's not here. She's still watching, you know,
100%.
and I know she'd be proud, you know, still to this day. So that's just another game changer for me because I have a why. I have a reason why I do what I do.
I love that.
And a lot of people got to find that. Not a lot of people are very clear on that. So those are two. I don't know. I can't really
Thank
think
you
of
for
a
sharing.
third.
Yeah. And look at that, guys.
Yeah, man.
Didn't talk about anything technical.
No.
Right, Joe? Like, didn't talk about anything technical. And sometimes those are the most game-changing things you need, right? And it's not going into the systems and, oh, this thing got me to the next level. It's like, sometimes it's about me, people around me, my why, my story, my mindset, right? Like, I mean, Joel, you could talk more about that, right?
Well, you know how it is, man. I'm a strong believer of purpose, right? And what a lot of people don't realize, like when I got into painting, I didn't like painting at all. I didn't have a painting background, so my story is completely polar opposite of many that are in the paint industry. Is they enjoyed it and that's what they were doing for a trade. And I saw the guys suffering, right? Like I saw the guys that needed help, and that turned into my passion of like, how do I help my team? How do I get them to be more efficient? How do I make sure they're taken care of and that they can make more income and they can change their families' lives through painting? And that became my passion then. So, you know, when it comes to fears, and I'm listening really closely to what Nick's saying, and dude, I commend you. Thank you so much for sharing with us today, because a lot of people are too shy to talk about the why, to talk about the pain, to talk about their story. But that's what you need to talk about to activate the why. And that's what people are missing, is that when they skip that and they're not being honest with themselves, then they're not being honest with everybody else. And that's one thing that's a very important lesson for people to hear today, is when you start to be realistic to yourself and you look at the mirror and you go, this is what's going on. I need to change this. I need to shift this. Everything else changes in your life, but it starts with you. Super important. So, man, I know guys and gals took a lot of nuggets today already, so appreciate you, man.
You got to chase your future self, man. If you're chasing the money, you'll be chasing forever, right?
100%.
It's like the money's going to come. Don't worry about that. I know there's numbers and you got to make it happen, but at the end of the day, it's like if you find purpose and you find your why, like we just said, I mean, dude, that's going to take you way further than money ever could.
100%.
Yeah, that's part of why, you know, with PaintCon too. I mean, I knew what I was walking into in a sense of like painting education. Like I've been to the PCA, and you know, and it was a little more lax and like different, and the type of people that were there were maybe a little bit different. But at the end of the day, like I've been following Andy Elliott for a long time, and you know, people disagree with certain things. Like I think there's certain things I disagree with that he has, and that's okay. But I think the biggest and most important thing that I love about him is just, can we cuss?
Yeah, absolutely.
Shit.
This is what we work so hard for. What? Like, what are you so worried about everybody else and what they think? And, you know, like you talk about all the time, all the limited beliefs. Like I that's where my vision's big. I don't care what you, I love challenges. Challenge me. You know, that's where I thrive the most is high stress situations. Like I said, put me up against the wall, up against somebody else with their back against the wall, and I bet you I'll beat you there. You know, it's just, that's what I would look forward to so much going there, because I do have, like I said, I'm not perfect. I do have issues and I do have things that I'm overcoming as a person. And that's why I really, other than the painting and just being around the great community, was why I wanted to go there, because I knew that his short little hour talk was going to get to me. Just being there in person. You know, I can hear it all day on the internet, but the internet's just a little weird to me. So I'm like, let me meet this guy, see what he's about, feel the energy in person, and see what that does to me. And I mean, it's changing me already. You know, I've always had these little thoughts. I've always had these things that he tells us to do, but being consistent with that is a whole nother story. You know, and really believing that, like, okay, I need to become that. You know, I'm trying to become that, but when are we going to really take it to the next level and really hold yourself, you know, accountable to that?
Yeah.
That was part of my meeting today in my company. I told him, I said, listen, I've dropped the ball on the standard, so I'm going to start with me. Just like you said, I'm going to start with me. I'm going to fix me first, and once I get there, I'll let y'all know and give me grace. And then at that point, I hope you guys follow and take my lead, because I've done well, but well's not good enough for me. So that's
I
just
love it.
that's why I went there. You know, I knew that that's what I was going to pull out of it. You know, and I brought my wife with me because I was like, I want her to. We got to be on the same page too and know exactly what I'm going for here. So
100%.
Yeah.
Wow. Facts. Love it, dude.
It's good stuff, man. One of my favorite parts of PaintCon was when Andy Elliott was up there and he brought his sales reps up, or his, I don't know what he calls them, but he was like, all right, here's a book, right? He got a random person in the audience and he basically said, open up page 46. We're going to do the time close. And he said, sales rep 1, go. Just hit every single word. Just verbatim. Page 47, go. Boom. Next guy, every single word. But the idea and the message behind it was, if your guys aren't doing that, if they're not trained like my guys, your standards are too low. And you need to fix yourself first, and then your company and everybody else will fall in line. And then you'll have conquerors. You can take over, right? So you have a mini tribe. And that spoke to me so much, because I'm like, what am I doing to not keep my guys on top or trained? He said, I'll out-train anyone. I love that.
Yeah.
We can all take something from that.
100%. Think about it. In the painting industry, we call it the 5 Ps. Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance, right? But yet we don't do that for our sales. We don't do that for our production. We only focus on our painters. It's like, well, what about your people in the leadership team that can hold them accountable and to that next level? What about the role plays? What about all the other stuff that we have to do? And we skip those steps because we go right into delegation. And that's an issue we run into as leaders. We want to delegate because we're like, oh, I got a taste of freedom for some time. And then we forget that's going to be the cog in the wheel at some point. And when he demonstrated that, I was like, this dude practices what he preaches. And I know that because I've been there so many times now. And I'm tired of talking about it. So I'm glad everybody got to see it firsthand, because he's the real deal, man. When it comes to practicing, those guys every day, every single day for hours, practice.
Yeah,
that's what you did.
The big thing that stuck out to me when he was talking about that, he was like, my guys, like, if they cross in the hallway, they're not allowed to keep walking. Like, that was like, whoa. That was insane. I felt like, you know, it takes me back to before I started a painting company. I was working as a server for a high-end, like, hibachi restaurant that served like a ton. Like, I can't even tell you how many sushi rolls they had. And that was literally, like he said, he's like, you don't get hired on at the Elliott Army without mastering this. Like, you have to know this in order to work here. And that's how it was for me at that job. I couldn't, like, the interview was memorizing every ingredient in all the sushi rolls.
Wow.
So, you know, that brought me back to that time. And I was like, you know what? That needs to be a standard. I make it happen. Like, we got to do that. So stop asking all these silly questions at interviews. Like, let's really get serious about this, you know?
And even going back to the why, right? It's like you were able to do what you've done because of your why. And he opened up the testimony for one of his guys, right? And he was sleeping in his van. He was drinking, partying, doing dumb shit, right? And then now his life's transformed, making more money than ever. He's put together. He was a genuine dude, too. Like, I talked to him a good bit. So these are good guys, highly trained. Life's turned around. What else could you ask for, right? Only good things.
Just got to be pulled out the hole, man.
Yeah.
By the right people.
We can talk all day about PaintCon. It was so good, to be honest. We got a vlog coming out, actually. Vlog is going to drop in, I'd say, like, by Wednesday.
Let's go.
So looking forward to that. Nick, what closing things do you got for us? We're up against it with time.
Man, I just always wanted to get the message out to people to really digest what we just talked about. What also stuck with me, Aiden, it's like you were like, you didn't talk about the technical stuff. It's not about the technical stuff, and finding who you are is very imperative, very imperative.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why I couldn't answer your question about the three things, because I'm like, that's the one thing that if you don't do that, like nothing else is really going to work.
Yeah.
And I say that humbly because I'm still working on it. And if you're not always working on it, then you're doing something wrong, because there's always more to learn. I never understood why you just go to school for 12 years and that's it. You got to keep going. Life is school. So, I just want to inspire people at either my level or lower to continue to grind and understand what, look up the definition of grit. That's huge, to know how to really immerse yourself in what's going on and dig deep down inside, like Joel talks about all the time, inside your mental well-being. It's dark in there for a lot of people, and they don't share it. And become more comfortable with that, because the more you can own it and own your problems, the better the outcome becomes. So
sheesh.
Cool.
That's my nuggets, man. That's my nugget.
We appreciate you sharing all this with us and with our listeners, man. Like, there's going to be somebody that takes action because of this and seeks their why and changes their life, man. So, we appreciate you hopping on. We knew it'd be a great episode, just powerful story and just a great guy, right? Like,
100.
Nick's just a man. So,
anybody else out there that wants to do a pod, let me know, because this is inspiring to me, man. I feel like a kid in the candy store right now.
Yeah.
Being able to be on a podcast.
You heard it here first. Where can they contact you, brother?
Like the fame in the world, I don't know. I know this is a channel to put word out there and to touch people. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I mean, that's part of the change of me, is like the music, no more music. I don't know. Music ain't nothing. It's nothing good for me. That's part of learning all the time, is just like the podcasts, audiobooks, all that stuff is like, I didn't understand that at a younger age, but now I'm like, knowledge is wealth. So the more I just learn and learn and learn. So I want to be able to do that for other people.
And where can people find you if they want to reach out?
You can go to Make It Happen Painting on Instagram. Again, I'm an open book. I don't care, man, about my personal life. You can go to Nick Weissman on Facebook. I don't have any crazy socials like that. Make It Happen Painting, man. We just make it happen. That's it.
Yes, we do.
That's where you do.
Awesome. Well, I want to lastly just shout out our sponsor, DripJobs, again, right? We all use that CRM, painting contractors. If you're looking to level up, guys, Path 60, PATH 60, and you'll get 60 days free. So go lock in with DripJobs and their team. Joel, you want to end us on a quote, brother?
I do. We're going to go back to one of my favorite ones, because I've been watching Nick from the sideline since I first met him at the PCA. Leave you guys with this. Just, Nick's reached out to me. He's probably reached out to Aiden. He's reached out to other coaches. We've had awesome conversations on the phone, just like, hey, man, what can I do for you? Where are you at, right? Nick is the perfect, what I call, student. And the reason why I say that, the student drives the learning. And he took massive action from every single call, every single podcast. I don't even need to know which one he was on to listen to. His results are showing that he's executing what he sees. So like my favorite quote says, if you strive to be 1% better each day, at the end of 100 days, you'll be 100% better than when you first started. And I think Nick embodied that. He focused on one thing, one day at a time, and executed. So guys, I leave you with that. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys.
Well, we'll end it on that. Good stuff, boys.